Hello and welcome to another Every Tuesday tutorial. In this week's tutorial we're going to talk about 3 tips to improve your brush lettering. I've had a few requests for this and we've been long overdue for a lettering tutorial. So I'm going to walk you through 3 of my best tips to quickly fast track your brush lettering to look more pro, less novice, and really get the ball rolling. Okay, so the very first tip is improving your structure or your anatomy of your lettering. Getting those consistent letter forms and understanding their relationships with other letter forms. I actually have a tutorial on type anatomy. If you click on the link in the video description, you can check out that video, but we're going to do a brief overview right here. So I have a free lettering guide right here. If you click on the link in the video description, you can download this for free. It's got your basic structure that all letters kind of form off of. You've got your baseline, your descender line, X height, cap height, and ascender height. And I'm going to walk you through all of those. You can either letter directly on top of this guide sheet, or I've got a piece of tracing paper right here that I'm just going to set on top so we can use it multiple times. So just grab any kind of writing utensil. I just have a regular pen right here. And your baseline is where all of your letters kind of sit. You want to get this part down before you introduce bouncing to your letter forms. You want to get this part down before you introduce flourishing. It's really important, kind of like with any creative discipline, you have to understand the rules before you can break them. So your baseline is where all of your letters kind of sit. Your X height is the height of a lowercase x, and it's where a lot of just your regular letters kind of live. So your A, for example, would hit your baseline right here and your X height right here. Same with the lowercase letter x. You can see how the height of it is your X height and your baseline, and compared to the A, it's the exact same height. So your cap height is exactly what it sounds like. Any capital letter extends from the baseline all the way to your cap height, and it's just a little bit shorter than your ascender line. So if you had a D, for example, you would come all the way up to your ascender and then come all the way back down to your baseline. So your baseline's right here, your X height's right here, and your ascender line extends just above your cap height right here. And you want to make sure that all of your letters kind of work off of each other and stick to these rules as you're drawing them out. And you just want to practice all of your letters and how they relate to each other, making sure that you keep that consistency with where your X height, ascender, and descender hit. An example of a descender, if I have a lowercase p right here, you can see once again, here's my baseline, my X height, and my descender line. So you want to draw out your entire alphabet and kind of notice the relationships where everything's kind of hitting and keeping that consistency going. And if you're working on script letter forms, draw it all out in script or in cursive and really practice and notice those relationships. And once you have that part down, then you can start getting fancy with incorporating that bounciness or flourishing later on. So this is tip number 1. This will definitely improve things as you go. I know it can seem a little tedious, but it's totally worth it in the end. You'll learn a lot about your letters in the process. So that brings us on to tip number 2. So tip number 2 is understanding where your thicks and your thin strokes go. So generally speaking, all of your thick strokes happen on the downstroke and all of your thin strokes happen on the upstroke. So if I have a lowercase a, you can see as I'm forming it, I go down with my first stroke and then I come up, and then I come down again, and then I come up. So this part coming down initially is a downstroke. Coming back up is your upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. So wherever I'm going down, that needs to be a thick line. Coming back up is thin, down is thick, back up is thin. So this is where you're going to bring in your brush lettering. So I have a brush marker right here. This is the Tombow Fudenosuke. It's a soft tip brush pen, and you can see if I press down really hard right here, I get a thick stroke. If I don't put much pressure, I get a nice thin stroke. So it's a great writing utensil to practice your thicks and your thins. So if I watch my A right here coming down, I want to put a lot of pressure because I need it to be a thick stroke. And then I'm coming back up, so I need it to be a thin stroke. Down is thick and back up is thin. So you want to practice this with all of your letters, but you don't want to get too crazy at first. You want to work on each letter individually and slowly add on additional letters, because the more time you spend with each letter, the more you'll understand it. So then you don't have to think about it as much as you letter later on, and you'll build up that muscle memory. So eventually it'll just come naturally where you really just letter things out without thinking too much. So your B would come down first, so that's going to be a heavier stroke. So lots of pressure. And then I'm going to come up, so light pressure, come back down, heavy pressure, and back up. For your C, up, down, back up. And once again, you just want to make sure you're following your guidelines so you have your consistency with the structure of your letters. If you do both of these at once, you'll kind of hit two birds with one stone and really get that consistency going. So speaking of consistency, that brings us to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is making sure that all of your downstrokes are the exact same weight and all of your upstrokes are the exact same weight. So a nice practice exercise for this is if you have a spare sheet of paper, you're just going to go in with your writing utensil and practice how much weight a downstroke is going to be and how little weight an upstroke is going to be. So you should kind of go up and down. And once you get your vertical lines consistent, where all of your heavy weights look the exact same thickness and all of your upstrokes look the exact same thinness, then you want to start making zigzags. So down, up, up. And then you can start introducing curves like our A. Down, up, down, up, down, up. You just want to get that consistency going. This is one of the most obvious mistakes that new letterers make is inconsistency with their weight. So you may understand where your thicks and your thins go, but if those thicknesses aren't all the same and those thin areas aren't all the same, then it's typically a sign that you're a beginner. So if you get this down, you will look pro in no time. So then you just want to come back to your practice and then you can just start lettering them out once your hand has built up that memory of how thick your downstroke should be and how thin your upstroke should be. And once you draw a few out, it's important to come back and take a look and see where you can improve. So I can see that my D is just a little bit thicker than my B. My F looks a little thicker than my D, and my F doesn't come all the way down. So I can see for next time I need to extend this down a bit further. This needs to be a little thicker. And you just want to go back and evaluate. And once you see where you can improve, you want to keep practicing over and over, and that muscle memory will just continue to build until you have really consistent, highly structured brush lettering. So those are my 3 tips for quickly improving your brush lettering to look like a pro in no time. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe, and don't forget to head on over to my website, every-tuesday.com, for this free lettering sheet, as well as all the supplies used in this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.